Thank you. Well, Bridging the Gap is actually put on by Pri-Med, which is a national sort of online CME program. And since I hated traveling and getting CME, like going, getting a hotel, and then sitting in class all day. But I don't mind sitting at my desk because, I don't tell them that I sort of multitask, but I do listen. And if it's captivating, I'll actually watch it from beginning to end. And so it allowed me to get CME, in an easy sort of way. And so when the book was published and I'm thinking about ways of letting people know about it, I reached out to them and said, there's a lot of topics in this particularly, that are specific to African Americans that the providers don't know. And it's not about cultural competence. It's about, it's a medical competence, and my wife's a nurse practitioner. She'll have patients come in with hypertension on a beta blocker or on lisinopril. That's not appropriate. That's not what the data suggests should be used. African Americans should use a calcium channel blocker, hydrochlorothiazide, and the data is there, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. And I teach that class in medical school, and that's what we teach the medical students. If you see an African American, you do this. But because physicians aren't being stubborn, or they're not trying to not do right, they just don't know, right? And so this podcast, I give Pri-Med credit, said, they say, well, you can do 6 and we'll see. And the response has been great. We got well over 200 physicians and providers, physicians and nurse practitioners and physician assistants from across the country, tune in once a month. And I'm assuming they have high African American populations, and it can be a difficult population, which I talk about, with trust issues and compliance issues and adherence issues. And so we just talk about ways to do it, and they can ask questions live. And so we touch on, touchy subjects, right? We talk about COVID, we talk about the vaccine, we talk about vaccine hesitancy, which is really high in African Americans, and approaches to talking to them about it, and issues related to that. So it's a fun monthly webcast that we have. That's why it's called Conversations with, because you're not just sitting back, you're asking questions. When I got COVID back in November, and I was sick as a dog, when I came back in January, I said, I'm going to do an episode on this, because in January we didn't know, and so I said that the doctors talk to a doctor who was in the intensive care unit, and see how you felt, and and so we did an episode on that, and I got over 100 questions in an hour that the doctors were asking about, my experience with having a really bad case of COVID, and we talked about the vaccine and discussions related to that. So it's a fun CME. I've been picked up for another 6 months, and so it's Pri-Med is the organization, and they've got a lot of good websites. I watch they do these days Prime. I forget what it's called, but they'll do 2 days in a row where it's just CME all day, and as part of it, and since I'm registered, and it's free, incidentally, for physicians. It's easy, it's free CME, and I'm learning so much just being associated with it.